Okay. All right, thank you so much. Welcome everybody to the Monday, November 7th, 2022 Community Engagement and Communications meeting. We can start with introductions. I see David first.
Hi, I'm David Warner. I'm a member of the Board of Education and parent of a kindergartner who went all the way up, graduated from Woodlands High School and has a graduate degree and a successful career.
Thank you. Liz?
Hi, everybody. I'm Liz Anastasi. I work at the Greenburgh Public Library, and I'm a member of the Hartsdale Greenburgh Rotary.
Thank you. Charlene?
Hi, my name is Charlene Vasilevsky. I'm a teacher at the high school, and this year I am one of the co-coordinators for the WISE program.
Perfect. So Charlene, we got a little bit of feedback when you went. I'm not sure if you have, I don't know if you, do you have two screens going at the same time or something?
No, maybe that's why. Yeah, let me see if I can fix that.
Thank you so much. Charles.
Charles Fritz, social studies high school teacher. Also, might I point out that Mr. Warner's daughter, great student, and I'm also.
Did he? Hello?
I'm sorry, Charles. I heard up to also, and then you cut out. Charles, can you hear us? Wave if you can hear us. But you say something?
Yes, I did. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now. We heard you say that David's daughter was an excellent student, and then you kind of cut out after that.
I apologize about that. I'm up here in the woods, so my internet connection isn't the best. I'm also a co-coordinator of the WISE program in our 50th anniversary year.
Perfect. I see Manny next. Manny, you're on mute.
I'm always on mute. Anyway, yeah, I'm Manny Arises. I'm a member of the Greenburgh Civic Association. I got to say that both my wife and my sister-in-law attended Woodland and all the Greenburgh schools district grades. Also, my wife was a member of the starting group of the WISE program.
Wow.
Back 50 years ago. So she's passed away, but she spoke very kindly and very energetically, and she was a very energetic participant and promoter of WISE. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Manny. Next, I see Kelly Johnson.
Good evening. How are you? My name is Kelly Johnson, and I have a 7th grade son at Woodlands Middle High School. I'm also a graduate from Woodlands, so I also attended the WISE program. I was a part of it.
Okay. Brizetta?
Good evening, everyone. Yes, I've been fortunate to be a resident, my husband and I, of this Greenburgh community for over 16 years, former principal. I just love it. I'm fully engaged. It's been a minute, so I'm glad I'm back.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank
Francis.
you.
Francis?
Hi, I'm Francis Sheehan. I have my son and daughter went through the school district. My wife and I were PTA presidents of the ECP, and they went from ECP all through the high school, through college, did very well. Now they're professionals in their fields, and I now have grandchildren that are going through the school system. A 5-year-old that's working on homework at this late hour, as a matter of fact, and so I've lived in the district since 1983, since we moved in here, and I actually moved because of the diversity of the district, and you know, I just think very highly of it.
Thank you so much for sharing. Edith?
Good evening. My name is Edith Horn, and I am a concerned citizen. I'm a retired teacher from one of the public schools here in Westchester County with 40 years of service to that district. And I'm also currently working with the PTA Council here in Greenburgh.
Vice President, don't forget the Vice President
Keep
part.
saying that. I keep trying to keep a
Thank you so much, Edith. Carol Allen.
Good evening, I'm Carol Allen. I'm an active, engaged community member.
Thank you, Carol. Johan Snacks.
Hi, good evening. Johan Snaggs, 8-year resident and member of the Juniper Hill Civic Association as well. And apparently I'm the only one who didn't get the memo that this wasn't in person today. So I'm on my way back from Highview. And I'll join as soon as I make it inside.
I apologize about that, Johan. I will make sure to have it added to the actual distribution list. Samantha?
Hello.
Hey, everybody. I am also driving, and I'll join you once I make it back in. Parent and a member of the Hartsdale Neighbors Association.
Yes, it's virtual. I'm on.
Thank you. Leslie Davis?
That's supposed to pop up.
Hi, I missed the menu,
All right.
the memo also.
If you can mute David, we can hear you. Thanks a lot. Sorry, go ahead, Leslie.
Hi, I'm Leslie Davis. I'm a 25 plus member of Greenburgh, and I'm quite interested in the WISE program. I work in sustainability, energy efficiency, and I work with young people in STEM. So I am here just to see what's going on in terms of that.
Welcome, welcome. Deborah.
Hi, my name is Deborah. I'm a Woodlands graduate and also an involved parent. I am listening in from work, so I might have to leave, but now I'd like to listen in.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I am Jamal Thomas, chair of the committee, board trustee. I have been a Greenburgh resident for the overwhelming majority of my life, and also someone who went through WISE, and it was a wonderful experience. So definitely looking forward to that presentation coming up momentarily. Okay, so next up, we will be adopting meeting minutes for our 10-12 meeting. If you can just give me a second to open that up.
You're muted, David.
Dr. Iverson is attempting to log in. Has there been any request to admit her?
I don't see anything from Dr. I.
Okay.
Do we need to send her?
Keep an eye out. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, keep an eye out.
Good.
Okay. I'm going to share a different screen, I guess. Okay, so we met at Highview and via Zoom on October 12th, 2022 at 7 p.m. I'm not going to read through every single component, but if everybody can, particularly the people who were there, I'm going to kind of scroll slowly through the document. And if anybody sees anything that does not look correct, please let me know. And otherwise, we will get these adopted. Designated committee members. I'm actually going to bring that up next for the last time before we vote in at the next board meeting. Johan Snaggs spoke about the Fairview Empowerment Group, and a very interesting conversation that we look forward to continuing. Superintendent had some updates, and then we spoke about some upcoming events, and we adjourned at 8:15. Did anybody see anything that needs any adjustments? Hearing none, I move that we adopt our October 12th, 2022 meeting minutes. Can I
Second
get-
motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Meeting minutes are adopted. Okay, so up next, we actually have a call to for people who would like to be a part of the committee, not just joining the meetings, but actually voting members of the committee. A number of people have expressed interest. I have a list of the folks from last year who will be continuing on. I would like to open it up to the folks who are on right now. If anybody would like to become a voting member of the Community Engagement and Communications Committee, now's the time to let us know, because at the next board meeting, we will be voting on the group and of folks to be voting members on the committee. So would anybody like to volunteer?
Mr. Thomas, I would like to, please. Charles
Okay.
Fritz.
Charles Fritz. Anyone else?
I'd like to, Jamal.
Okay.
I would like to.
Could you explain the procedure to me? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Liz.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say I'd like to as well, please.
Okay.
I would as well, but I would need explanation when you're saying because we're on the committee, then we would become voting members of.
Yeah. So essentially, this committee is open to anyone who is a part of the community that would like to come to the meetings. The meetings are open for the entire community. Now, after that, there's a subset of people who become voting members. Is there a specific name for that, David?
No, it's just I'm officially a member of this committee. Therefore, if the committee comes up with a recommendation and we vote on it because it's controversial in some way, and some people want it, some people don't want it, only the people who are on the list get to have a vote.
Correct. And just for just to add to that, I don't remember if we had anything that we had to vote on last year. Like, it would be, if we had to spend money on something or things to that effect. So we haven't had many things that we need to vote on, but certainly it can't hurt to have as many folks as possible able to contribute to.
I'd like to be part of that. Thank you.
Okay. And David, it is them telling me here is enough. I don't need like an official email or anything to that effect from everyone, correct?
You don't have to, as long as it ends up on a list that goes to the process for adding it to the agenda. So you have to make sure that you send an email with the names of all the people who are interested in joining committee. Then it goes on the board agenda, and the board votes on it. Then once that happens, you're an official member.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
What is the charge of the committee?
The charge of the committee. There's some very specific charges. David looks like are you looking those up, David?
I'm looking at the mission and charges from last year.
Okay.
Remember that we were talking about the 5-year plan and trying to figure out if that was going to have any effect on what the charges were.
Mm-hmm.
So the charges as they currently stand. Okay, mission. The GCSD Community Engagement and Communications Committee shall engage the GCSD community by serving as a liaison between the Board of Education and all members of the community by delivering clear, concise, and timely information through a variety of two-way communications platforms. Charges: make recommendations for a district-wide communications policy with procedures, make recommendations for ways to create partnerships and communications with PTAs, local business organizations, civic associations, and municipalities, Town of Greenburgh being one of them. Make recommendations for plan to implement a community-wide survey by thought exchange to gather information regarding our district to include but not limited to our students' educational experience, including its effectiveness of our current communication efforts, student, faculty, and staff needs of the district, and then make recommendations to continue to build community trust and strengthen perception of our school district. That's
right. Right. So from what I'm hearing, that is, it's not a decision-making body. So therefore, you can have Zoom meetings like this and be in compliance with the governor's
open meeting law. Yeah.
Open meeting law. So that's important. I'd be happy to be on or not be on. Obviously, I'm a member of the town board, and so I don't want to have any conflict. if there is one, perceived or otherwise. So I'm actually, I'll do whatever you think is best to help the district. And it doesn't, I could be on as a voting member or not be on. It really, if you think I'm looking for one more meeting to vote, I have plenty, but I don't mind being at these. And if it's as a non-voting member, that's fine too.
So, I mean, it's completely a personal, decision. If you tell me, yes, Jamal, I'm going to put your name down and we'll be voting at the next meeting. If you say no, then, it's again, completely up to you. So what are we going with? Yes or no?
It's a little bit more complicated than that because, I do have lots of meetings and I haven't been able to make, I think, the last two, but I was at the one prior to that. And so if I'm a voting member, I then count towards a quorum. And so that could complicate things if I have conflicting meetings.
We haven't had quorum issues.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
And Francis, I'll join and I'll cover for you when you don't show up. Put my name down too.
All right. So Francis, is that I can't make the
right
call.
That's fine. I didn't hear Carol volunteer though. That's the understated introduction of anybody I've ever heard is she's an active community member. She's a lot more.
I've learned not to volunteer, Francis.
Okay, Ivy, I think I'm in. Wait a minute, my video. Oh, let me mute.
Hey, Dr.
Jamal,
yes,
Dr. I don't know if you can see the chat, but Sam Ives said to make sure she's written down.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Ivy, I'm in. Thank you.
Hey,
Okay. Whew.
hey Dr. Iverson.
Hi. Yes, hi. Excuse my tardiness. I could not get in, but I'm in now. Ivy had to walk me through it.
No worries. Okay, so just finishing this up. Francis, are we a go or are we a no?
Let me check with our town attorney just to make sure there's no conflict.
So if you let me know over the course of the next couple of days, I don't think that the next I don't know off the top of my head the next board meeting, but that's when we will be voting. So thank you so much.
It's the 15th.
Yeah, so that if you can let me know by then, that would be awesome.
Okay, will do.
Thank you so much. And now for what many of us have been waiting for, I'd like to invite our WISE team to take it away. If you guys can share your presentation, and we are all looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. It does say that when I try to share the screen, that I'm not allowed to, because you're the host.
Okay.
But we did share it with you if you want to share it.
Oh, if
it sounds like you're coming in on two devices.
Yeah, it still sounds like you're coming. Right. And then
you should be able to share your screen now.
And it's okay. So Charlene's going to be sharing. And if you could highlight Charlene, Charles, and who else is going to be? Is it somebody else? Or is it just the two of you guys?
Just the two of us.
Yes, if you can highlight those two during the presentation, that'll be awesome.
Charlene and Fritz.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I made both of them co-hosts.
But if can while they go through the presentation, can you have them highlighted?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to the first slide. Can you hear me?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
I can't hear you.
We hear you now.
Okay, good. I'm sorry about that. I was using my AirPods.
Charlene, I'm sorry. Are you one of the triplets? Yes.
Okay, I recognize your face now. Okay,
Yes, no, Vasilevsky is my married name.
okay.
Yes, I'm formerly Catalan. One of
Yes,
the
yes,
triplets.
I see
Nice
your
to
face now.
see you,
Yeah.
and it's so nice to see you again. Francis was
Yes.
a very good friend of mine and
Mhm.
my prom date. Um, so it's nice to see so many former WISE graduates here. Let's see. Okay. All right. So this year is our 50th anniversary for the WISE program at Woodlands. And Dr. Fritz and myself are very excited to, to be working on a WISE relaunch. And we've been working with task force members and meeting regularly to really try to revamp the program.
Do we have the first slide?
Is it, I'm sorry, it says that I'm sharing it.
Obviously, the community outreach slide.
Oh, sorry. Let me.
No problem.
And you just muted yourself, Charlene, in case you didn't know.
My microphone is turned off when I screen share.
Okay, how about now?
Yeah.
And I'm sharing my screen. Okay, I don't usually use Zoom, but okay, it's a learning process a little bit. So yeah, so again, we've been working on launching the WISE relaunch this year, and we have a lot of exciting events coming up, and we would really, it's pretty obvious that a lot of people here in this audience are familiar with the program, which is amazing, and a lot of you guys went through it. And now we're really looking to get more networking opportunities for the students to kind of engage them with WISE and give them opportunity to see what they can do too.
So what is WISE? WISE started in Woodlands with Victor Leviathan, and that was 1974. And, it's been here for 50 years that we're going on. The program is a Woodlands individualized senior experience. And for this year, what we're aiming for is to have increased internships, and then also personal projects, which has always been a heart of the program, and expanding those and having a lot more structure to the program. Usually about January, February, students will start the WISE program, and then they will keep a journal. They'll have experiential learning throughout the rest of the 2 semesters, and that can come in the form of an internship or a personal project. And then in May, June, they do their final presentations and fulfill their requirements to graduate. WISE has been a nationally recognized program, and we're going to make the push to keep that going as well. So that's a 3x5 version, and many of you have all had different experiences with WISE and come out of the other side with great memories, it sounds. So we're trying to build those and build the experiences for the students. Our recent progress in a short amount of time, might I add, is we have a social media campaign. We're building a Facebook page, an Instagram page, and Twitter. We're also in the process of building a web page, and we're going to be sharing our old stories and our new stories and the events that are happening weekly on those. We are having a 50th anniversary celebration for alums, and we're also going to honor Vic, and we're also going to honor Dr. A at that ceremony. Now, another part of the ceremony is a tree planting and a plaque somewhere on the campus that we've been talking about. And there's also been talks. I know that Paul Feiner's reached out to board members as well as myself about naming a road after WISE. So that is, people are talking about that. We've increased participation as well. We are open. We're also trying to include our ENL population. We're offering things in both English and Spanish. Part of that, one of the major goals is to increase our contacts with
Sorry, you cut out, Dr. Fritz. So yeah, Dr. Fritz, you're cutting out. We can't hear you.
He apparently has low
We want them to help
bandwidth.
students.
Yeah, I think
You
there's a
lost me?
delay for him as well.
There is a-
Oh, can you hear us?
Charlene, go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, like Dr. Fritz was saying, one of the things that we're really trying to work on right now is reaching out to alumni. We're trying to send out a form to try to encourage participation from alumni and try to figure out who can help out with WISE by offering an internship for a student, or who has any special skills or would like to present what they did for their project to our students, so that our students get an idea of the legacy that's in their school. And we would really like to also kind of help to inspire the students for like the types of projects they could have, and just any other resources that people can offer. We welcome them with open arms.
And we also, come and visit us and see what we're doing, see what we want to do in our vision for the program, and also carry on Vic's legacy. And please feel free to reach out to us too. We're going to be reaching out to some of you and see if you can align with us in your various endeavors, careers, and talents, again, both for internships and workshops.
Yeah, so at this point, we'd like to open it up to you guys. Do you guys have any questions for us? Any offers for internship placements?
And also take down the link, if you will. If you haven't filled out the link, we can put it in the chat too. It's right next to celebration. Feel free to fill out that form and pass it on to fellow alums. We're trying to get the word out there on social media as well. But then other than that, yes, Charlene and I would love to entertain questions.
All right, good evening. You want to go ahead, Jamal?
No, you go ahead.
All right, so I'm wondering, since this has been successful for 50 years, if I just moved in the community, which I have not, and I'm one of those people, I have my stepson, suppose he wanted to come into the program, what are the requirements? And how do people know about WISE? Like you said, we know, but how do other people know? What is the acronym and what does it mean? And how do we get our children involved?
So WISE stands, oh, sorry, go ahead. Oh, WISE stands for Woodlands Individualized Senior Experience. And on the first floor of the high school is the WISE room. So students pass by the WISE room every day, from 7th grade all the way up through their senior year. And people of all grades are invited to see WISE presentations too at the end of the year. So this is one thing that it's a big part of the school community. Also, we really try to recruit a lot of WISE students in their classes. We talk about the projects. We've gone into classrooms, done presentations. For the students, there are several requirements. And for people who have done WISE, a lot of those requirements have stayed the same. They have to keep a daily journal. That's like the main component of WISE, is keeping a journal and being able to write about your experience. The PIG assignments are the participation in government. They're, the news articles, keeping a PE log, making sure that students are, either playing a varsity sport or they're writing about their, working out in the weight room, walking to an internship, whatever it may be. An annotated bibliography and scholarly research regarding their project, and working toward really becoming immersed in whatever their project is. And attendance at weekly workshops are also a main component of WISE. And in exchange for that, they receive half credit for English, a half credit for social studies, and a quarter credit of PE. So in order to be a participant in WISE, they have to be on track to graduate, and in order to be accepted. So they have to be able to be in good standing.
So if my stepson was coming from North Carolina and he is a senior, there's a packet that would tell me about WISE and explain what the acronym means. Is there once I would enroll him, there was a package, a counselor or someone would say, oh, this is what we could do for your child?
We like to go, that's a good idea. I think that's something that we can take into advisement and talk to counseling about that. But we also go into the senior classes for English. They were working, actually one of their assignments was to make a WISE proposal, so that students had the opportunity to learn more about the program in that sense, and also skills in like writing a business letter and, CC, BCC, and how to write a formal email.
Okay. I was just wondering about people who are moving into the community who have children in high school. How would they know about the WISE program? Well, I thank you.
In high school,
I like that idea, like making a packet for counseling to give them.
for new students, that is a great idea. Certainly when the student is become matriculated into the program, there are, welcome package, things of that nature. But certainly there's nothing wrong with us doing that type of outreach.
Thank you.
So first, I just want to say thank you, really quick to Dave for inviting you guys. This is definitely, a program near and dear to my heart. I went through WISE. I had 3 different internships, all in that period of time. I didn't personally stick to any of those businesses, but a whole bunch of people that I went to school with are doing things right in the neighborhood of what their WISE projects are. So I look forward to connecting them with everything you guys are doing around looking to revamp the program, because many of them are in fact still in the in the district, even though I know they don't have to be for for folks to be able to be a part of the various different internships. But I love this for the community engagement committee, because it does give us an opportunity to reach out to various different businesses throughout the community and give them an opportunity to say, hey, yeah, I would like to be more involved with the school district, and I can do it in this way. So definitely looking forward to this. And I know Leslie has something that she'd like to.
We do appreciate you for having us, by the way, and we understand it's part of the culture, and that's what we're fighting to keep it as.
Thank you. Leslie?
Hi, good evening. I'm Leslie. As I said, I work in the energy efficiency and sustainability field. So I will be reaching out to you because I will have, in my current position, some internships to see if there's maybe a fit for
That's
some high school
perfect.
students.
We were going to reach out to you too, to be honest.
We already wrote down your name when we heard introductions.
But beyond that, I also know of 2 programs, well, actually 1 for high school seniors that also might be a fit, but I'm not sure if this is something WISE has done before, where they would be trained in a particular field over the course of, let's say, 6 weeks, and then work on an internship and project after that. The reason why I like it, number 1, is because it's almost like a lifelong alumni that you get to be a part of and continue to grow in a particular field. So you're not just dropped off, because I don't really like programs. There's so many training programs out here, and then it's you take the training and then bye. But this is more like bringing them through a career path. So I wasn't sure if WISE included training or if it was just to bring them into a particular company. So I don't want to
we aren't beyond anything. We want to try to accommodate as much as possible and troubleshoot and make things work for the students. So however we can try to fashion that within our parameters, but also meeting the parameters that we can have a dialogue and we can figure something out.
Okay. As long
Yeah,
as
not all WISE projects are intern-based or internship-based. A lot of projects are like could be creative projects or research projects. It doesn't necessarily have to be defined by an internship. Those are bonuses, and kids who do want that, sometimes they're learning how to network as well. So if we can tell them, hey, I heard about this, in the Greenburgh Public Library, that might be an opportunity or segue for students to like reach out. But it doesn't always have to be an internship.
Understood. Okay, so I see you put your link, and I will be reaching out to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead, David.
Okay, so I would just mention that one of the features of WISE is that each student has a mentor whom they select, and that mentor leads and guides them on a one-on-one basis, meets with them weekly and guides them through the process. And so then circling back around to the earlier question of how do you know exactly what's in WISE? At the initiation of WISE, there's a mentor agreement in which the mentor signs off and says, yes, I will, the student has come to me and asked me to mentor them. I will mentor the person for this period of time. Guidance signs off on it as well, and the parents sign off on that as well. And there's a summary, a nice summary of everything, all the aspects of the program on that 2-page mentor agreement. Now, in order to let all the students, all the upcoming seniors know about it, I believe we're canvassing the entire to a certain extent, junior and senior population of the school. Would you like to say a few words about your efforts in that direction?
Yes, the seniors have been canvassed. We did a similar form showing their interests, hobbies, and then they did the proposals as well through the English classes. So we've reached out to all the 12th grade English teachers, and they've been very accommodating with us, letting us do that. And then obviously the 11th grade push is going to come a little bit into the spring, but we're gonna start that probably too in December, just to be a little bit proactive, because again, in order to build the culture, we really, we want 9th graders coming in and hearing about it and being like, hey, this is something that we want to do. We get to do this awesome project. We get to do this awesome internship. We want to be a part of this. So we really have the 12th grade locked down in terms of getting everybody met with and hearing about what they want to do or what direction they want to take for the senior year. And now our next wave is going to be this junior class.
Good. You want to say anything about the model presentation?
Yeah, the model presentation. Charlene, go ahead.
The model presentation is the first presentation of the WISE, really the WISE season, starting in early May. And so for the WISE presentation, all WISE students are required to attend it as one of the Friday workshops. And they're the only presentation where the evaluation is public for everybody to see. So normally when a student completes WISE and passes the program, then they do the presentation. So once the student is doing the presentation, it means they've passed. And that's based on the mentor agreement, and the mentor would be the one to sign off that they're allowed to present. The students the first model presentation is where the evaluation is done publicly for all WISE students to see, and it's a really big honor. And it really showcases the program and really what a student can do in that time given to them.
And we also put it on YouTube.
Yes.
So the community at large can see it in addition to the student body, and we invite students from earlier grades to come and see. And if you look and each presentation is unique to the project, but it's also my journey through WISE. What have I learned during this past semester? And so they get a comprehensive idea of exactly what to expect.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Mr. Morton?
Yeah, thank you. Just following up on that, I've been putting in the chat about the fact that I think that the wide room at Woodland need to be redone and enhanced. I know the room very well. I don't think it's up to the quality of what the wide program is. And I'd like to tie in where
their premium version really
get some funding to fix the room up, to make it a quality room, so you can have the archive and let any kid from 7th grade all the way up to junior be able to walk in and see a program, see an archive, have the YouTubes already in there. It shouldn't have to be where they walk by the room and have no idea what WISE is.
Mr. Morton, I want to thank you so much for saying that, because that room has been neglected over time, unfortunately, and it really is not reflective of what the program should and could be.
Yeah, I feel that it could be taken further. If you have this where you're going to have a street sign and a tree, I think that they should really look at what the kids need. I mean, I'm all for a tree. I love trees. Signs are pretty. They make you look nice. But the bottom line is a really quality room with beautiful acoustics and everything in there for the kid to see and walk in will be much more effective for the WISE program than just a plain old street sign. So anyway, thank you.
David, I don't know if you want to speak to that just from a finance and facilities perspective, or Dr. Iverson. I'm not sure if there's perhaps something that is already in the works.
I can tell you right off the bat that the principal agrees with you, and kind of walked into the room and said, "Yeah, we need to do something to this room in order to make it 50th anniversary ready, and as part of sort of the rebirth of the program." So yes, that is something that needs to be done. I would agree with that. I can take that back to the Finance and Facilities Committee if you like, and we can look and see if there's some funding for that. It's got to come out of the current budget.
Mr. Warner, thank you. That would be great.
One thing that popped into my mind is I'm always looking for opportunities to give students more responsibilities. Perhaps we can dig into the well in their heads and hearts of the people who wind up joining the program this year, and as a part of a additional collective assignment, perhaps maybe it doesn't. I have not seen the room in a long time, so I'm not sure exactly what type of work we're talking about that's required, but perhaps we can.
It needs a lot of work. Put it that way, and you should go see it. Everybody should see it, because then you'll get the perspective of where I'm coming from. Because the curb appeal inside Woodland is vital to getting the future students to want to get into this fabulous program.
Can I say something?
Please.
My children attended, was in WISE, and as a parent, I was excited just that because they were getting to be seniors and they would be in the WISE program. This was years ago. And I find it's not as exciting. I am on the Woodlands High School Scholarship Fund Committee. And when we interview the students for scholarships, a lot of them are not into WISE. That's why I came to a board meeting once and mentioned we need to restart the WISE program, because I find that most of the students are saying we don't have the time. But I was on the task force, and I know that it starts with the mentor. If you have a student who is very busy, you work around that student. You don't have to meet with them the same time every week. You just plan a time when they're available. So it's not a matter of time, because all the mentors are told that, work with the student so that they can, meet with you once a week, but it doesn't have to be the same time every week.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, and years ago, they also had a mural. I think the students painted a mural in the WISE room. I don't know what it looks like today. I haven't been in there in years.
We still have
a request for a mural possibly in the corridor outside. The principal shared an email with me today on that. He's communicating and talking about how we're going to put that together.
Okay, sounds good.
Can I put 2 cents in from? May I?
Go ahead, Manny.
I like to kind of agree and reinforce Mr. Thomas's point. Working with children in other capacities, and I find that you get the best response and the best when the kids realize it's and become participant in what it looks and feels like. And I think it teaches them a lot of teamwork if they work together towards this project, like Mr. Thomas said. I don't think we should ignore it. And by adults putting in what they want to see in that room or outside that room, it might be a detriment to attracting student participation. I think we should honestly and seriously look at the fact that kids know what attracts kids much better than we do. Okay, I just want to reinforce that, and I think Mr. Thomas was relating to that.
Thank you for that. Dr. I don't know if you have a perspective you want to share on this.
Am I muted? No, I echo everything I've heard. I'm glad that this committee, I've been watching the many meetings they've had. I've not attended the meetings, but I know they've had a series of meetings to revamp and to elevate this WISE program. I'm new to the district, hearing so much about it and what it did for the many graduates, you being one, Mr. Thomas, and others who testified around just this program and what it did for you as you matriculated through the high school, and just in terms of taking your place in the society, in the world, how it's helped you to be the people and the kind of student we want. I just support it and encourage it. I was able to see the presentations last year. Very, very impressed with the level of research and presentation. The students were able to, in front of a crowd, get up and present from their heart, just that interest that they experienced around whatever the topic, and with confidence and knowledge. And it's such a worthwhile experience, especially for our youngsters moving into the world and being prepared for college and career, college and or career, wherever their hearts are. It just lends itself to having kids work on their interests. So no, that's all. I just know what's happening. The room piece, I echo, is some work we need to look into. And you're right, Trustee Warner. I'll speak to Lisa Raymond, as well as our facilities director, Dennis Pugliese. And sometimes just a fresh coat of paint will uplift the room at some level. And it may be some minimum things we can do this year.
Dr. Albertson, thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate that.
Thank you. One question that popped into my mind when I went through WISE, I actually, at that point, I didn't have any classes left, or maybe I had one class or something. Is that still how it is, that during the, kind of last couple of marking periods, semesters, that most of the seniors no longer have, classes that they had to be in,
right.
or they say they don't have time because they still have a bunch of classes?
So it depends. It's something that we've been working on. So, depending on their credits and what they need to graduate, it can depend on the student. Myself, when I went through WISE, I think I had one class, like first or second period. And then I had the rest of the day. I actually taught at Bailey for my WISE program. And, I'm working in that career now. So it was interesting, but yeah, there's some people, if they're in IB classes, they may not be able to drop that class because of those requirements. But we're also working with the IB program to kind of show students that a lot of those skills overlap, so they don't necessarily have to drop classes if they need them or they want them.
We're also working with guidance and Mr. Smith, and we're talking about how we can calibrate the schedule so it frees up the bottom half of their schedule, their bottom half of their day. So if BOCES may not
You lost you again.
Yeah, so if they're not going to BOCES, or if they're in BOCES in the morning, because a lot of times it's credit replacement. It's not always they don't take classes, but a lot of times it's credit replacement. So we're working with BOCES, and it's done on a based on the student's transcript and needs.
Right. And considering what you talked about, the idea of almost having WISE be this exemplar, this beacon that people, from when they get to the school, they start to kind of look towards. Maybe it as the program shines brighter, it does have the option where students know, I better really do what I need to do in 9th grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade, so that by the time that last two semesters of my senior year come, I can spend as much time as possible on this internship that I got to choose what it was. So I think that could be a great way to look at it as well.
Goal.
You know what, Jamal? I was thinking the same thing. I mean, when I was in high school, WISE was really exciting for everyone.
It was.
It gave us an opportunity. Part of it was also, you felt like you were not in class, even though you were technically taking a class, I guess, but it felt like you had some sort of freedom. So everyone was excited about that. It was like your step right before going to college and you had some independence. So the fact that so many children don't do it concerns me a little bit. And I was wondering, have you ever had a chance to just ask the students the reasoning behind why, other than like when they say they're busy, is it just that they have too much coursework? Because a lot of things have changed from when I was in high school. Is it that the WISE requirements are too much for them and they feel like it's easier to just stay in the courses? Like, what are the students saying when you ask them how come they're not choosing to do WISE?
There's a lot of variables in the equation. Obviously, it has lost its luster over the years. You know, there's a lot to that, and it depends on the student. Some could argue workload. Some could argue that, you know, it's not as interesting or it's luster. But I mean, those, you know, that runs the gamut.
You want to talk about the CAS program and how we can dovetail with the IB diploma program?
We have spoken to people that are running CAS at this point. There is that issue that there are extended essays, exams at the last part of the semester for them. But we've also said that, look, if they want to do WISE, we're willing to tailor it. And what we're decided on is picking 2 or 3 students that we feel are capable to do a test run of basically the marriage of CAS and WISE. So that's something we're going to attempt this year and see how that works out so we can make better models in the future.
What is CAS?
Creativity, Action, Service, something like that?
That's the IB
diploma program.
And it's in the last, is it 18 months or 2 years of the IB diploma program? And it's supposed to have a series of sort of experiences, some of which are somewhat WISE-like. Interestingly, the International Baccalaureate program is about as old as WISE. And so the sort of the forward-thinking generation, I guess primarily in Europe, was for foreign exchange students, was doing the same sorts of things we were doing. And so there are many elements that are the same, which is why the IB diploma program fits in our school, because we were already doing some of those things before IB hit. So it seems like there could be a good marriage there. And you could have a WISE project be like the capstone for what you do in the community activity service portion of your IB experience.
Well, that's the goal, is to give people in different programs as many avenues possible as they want. You know, at Woodlands, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can do CAS, you can do WISE, you can do BOS, you can do all these things, you know, and what a better place that where it started, and the breadth of things and variety of things, that programs that we have for our students here.
Yeah, and I think that the beauty of WISE is that it can be so flexible. You know, it's like a, you know, it's a skeleton that you get to fill in. You know, it's really like a framework. And so, you know, I tried doing an internship down in the city, and it did not work out for my project. And at first I felt like a failure, but then I was able to write about it in my journal and talk about how I was better serving the kids in Bailey by not going to an internship or splitting my time. And it ended up being much more meaningful for me.
I have a question regarding how to, well, because David, you said these programs can meld, or it's like a wedding. So if I were a student coming in 9th grade, how would I find out about these programs once again? And how do I know which ones would be great for me? Well, you have all these opportunities, but who's directing me or my family?
Well, certainly you have guidance, you have the teachers, and at some point the student has to decide for themselves. And when they get to 9th grade, they know what IB is. They may have heard of WISE, but they don't necessarily know what it's all about. But as time goes on and they move through the grades, with WISE anyway, I can't speak for the other programs, that's something that we're working on to make sure that they know about 9th grade. But IB is certainly something that we've been doing in the district for years. So they would know about that. But again, that's not my part.
So you're making the assumption. How do you know that they know?
Well,
Is there a vehicle that lets all the students and their families know about these 3 programs?
Yes, well, we also have the course catalog that's on the district website, and WISE is in the course catalog as well.
And so again, we have the course catalog. What about my family at home? So if my family is busy, are there people in the school who will say, oh, Brazetti, you're a 10th grade student. These are some programs that you might be interested in.
Certain, like I said, our goal is we're trying to get down and trickle down to those earlier grades so the kids are aware of WISE. But I mean, as far as social outreach and a website, that's what we have at the moment. But for now, 11th grade and 12th grade are covered. But certainly we're going to look into do it moving into the 10th and 9th grade so students are aware of the WISE program. And that can be in the form of assemblies like we've been having for different grade levels. It can also be in the form of us going into the classroom when it's time to do course selections. And that's something that we have been looking at doing and have done.
Because we can't assume, I mean, parents and guardians, they really believe that, and it's true, that the school is the central piece for their students. And the people are working and they really want us to be a part of their students' education. They look to us, we're the experts. So we need to provide that avenue for all of these programs. And I will say, once again, it's a pet peeve of mine. We use these acronyms, but again, when we say WISE or we say CAS or we say IB, we need to be specific and say what they are. Be specific and say the words. Because this audience here, maybe we understand, but the larger audience might not understand what WISE is. So perhaps when we print it out, we could say what WISE is, what IB is, what CAS is.
That's a good point. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Definitely good points. I think, what came up for me there was just the idea that, I mean, the reality is that WISE is a legendary program. Like it has graduated people who have gone on to do incredible things. And as part of what looks like, is going to be going on over the course of the coming months in preparation for the 50th anniversary is highlighting those stories. And I think the more people hear those stories, the more people are able to engage with them, the more people will ultimately know about the program and help the students to get excited about it. And you asked for volunteers earlier. If there's any, whether it's assemblies, whatever it is, where there's groups of students that can be spoken to about WISE, I certainly raised my hand to be a part of that.
Excellent. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Manny?
A question in a comment. A lot of these, especially the college-bound students, a lot of the stuff that they signed up for is so that they look better, whether it's AP courses, IB, so they look better in their application. This program basically kicks in their senior year. I know it's a personal improvement stuff, and it's an amazing program to create self-awareness and build your skill sets. I understand that totally. As like I said, my wife and my sister-in-law, but in the competitive world we are, especially the college-bound students, they have to know that somehow this is going to enhance their resume going to college. And if it's only at the end of after they've been accepted already or not, can we find a rework to attract more students so they can see the value added of having a WISE on their college resume applications? Like I've spoken to Ms. Jones about this. We give an award to students when they're already filed for their applications to college. So you have to understand that the high school focus is to get into school. So we have. I just don't know how it can be managed, but we should look at that. Maybe it would increase participation if they saw the value in their applications to college. Thank you.
What I think you're asking that basically you want the students to know the value of doing WISE and why it helps them in college.
Not only that it helps them in college, but also helps them to get into college. I've noticed this over the years. High school is not an in itself anymore. It becomes a stepping stone towards going to I don't know. It could be a trade school, it could be college, but to attract more college-bound participants. I think we have to look at the fact that they're working on this college resume that they're building to be accepted to go to college. And if WISE happens after that, it might not be as attractive to them because they don't see the value added to the applications.
I see what you're saying. I think some people too would look at it as if we've had several students that have had internships, they've gotten into the field of study, and after the fact, they've been successful in their business or they've stayed with that internship or company, and then they automatically see that value, and that's the dividend that pays off. WISE might not be that name on the resume that says, "Oh, you did WISE," yet, but the skills that the student develops and the experiences that they have, that's what bolsters them to stay in college. That's what bolsters them to be successful. And that's something that we have been communicating to the students.
Yeah, I'd like to add, when I was on the WISE task force, there were students who had never traveled into New York City. And they were, of course, the parents had feelings about them going into the city. And many of them, after a week or two, they just loved going into the city on their own and going to their project and coming back home. And they said they were very happy for that experience. Another part of WISE that nobody mentioned, a lot of the students, Charlene, you went on to become a teacher, but many of the students will take, I know a guy that was going to be a medical doctor, but he took guitar lessons. He said, I may never get the chance to be doing this again. And you take things like that you think creative painting, stuff like that, they would take, but they would not follow that career path, but it was something they would like to do. And they did it during WISE and they were very happy about it. Very happy.
Yeah, it really is. There's so many different, opportunities. I'm like the people you just suggested. I loved going to the city. I felt like a whole grown up. I was just like, wow, this is amazing. I had never felt that. I had been to the city before.
Independence.
It was a different energy, just going to my internship every day. Like you couldn't tell me nothing. But I want that for students as well.
And that's where we do have that in the works.
I will tell you that with some of the students that I mentored, I found exactly the concern that Manny has raised. I did find that some of the more forward-thinking students would do things like plan out what their WISE project was going to be about before they even got into the project, just like this English assignment we're talking about. And then they would say, I'm enrolled in this WISE project. I'm going to have this mentor. I plan on doing this, that, and the other thing. And then they would say, and it's like, oh, you're enrolled in that? And they actually got credit for the fact that they were planning their project, and that made it in before some of the deadlines. And then you get the recommendation letter at the end of WISE, and it says, see, I did this. Okay, so there's a little bit of marketing spin by which you can use WISE to your advantage. It's not as easy as if it were the Woodlands Individualized Junior experience, but you can do something with it if that's what you want.
Right.
So that makes a lot of sense.
I have a quick question. I'm sorry. What type of internships do they have currently with WISE? Because I think that was also a big selling point when I was in high school. I remember my senior year, we had children that worked for the Knicks. We had people working for, I forgot the name of the marketing company, but I remember I wasn't there, but I remember going with my friend and we did like a Take Six concert, and we had to sit there and help give out like different flyers and things like that. So it was something where you kind of got excited because some people have really exciting internships.
I remember Major League Gaming as being an exciting internship. For a lot of kids love video gaming, and this one kid getting to go in and pre-test unreleased versions of Halo was just the greatest thing you'd ever thought. And it's a wide variety. It's all a matter. It's ones and twos. It's not just the network of WISE graduates out there helping you, but it's also wherever you can get in. So there are a wide variety of possibilities. I'm sorry.
So that was actually my next. I'm just going to jump in real quick because that was actually my next question, and I think that this is as much a question for for the WISE team as it is for the for the rest of the community, and in that what are the things that we can do to increase that pool of available opportunities for students, so that it does do the job of making it more exciting, and it does do the job of making more people say, oh wow, there's something there for me. Yeah, I'll stop there.
So we are building a comprehensive list, and with this new crop of students, we are also tailoring it to their needs. We're using the resources from all the different teachers and staff that we have, and also, a part of our grassroots effort is to reach out to everyone in any form or fashion, and that's also part of why we're here. So we're going to be trying to reap those resources wherever we can. That's part of it, but we do have a comprehensive list that we're going to start working through and cold calling some contacts of mine, coaches, and a couple of the other teachers.
Yeah, and I think a lot, we have to recognize that COVID hit WISE pretty hard in the sense that people weren't able to have internships where they were going in person. And I think that really hit a lot of students too. And, we saw a lot more personal projects. We saw students going to interview people where they would have liked to have interns, but they weren't allowed to. So, they were going to try to at least interview, especially in the medical field, different professionals to learn about, their field or their interests. But I think that COVID did hit it. And that's really why we want to revamp this program and really try to bring back those exciting kind of opportunities and experiences for students.
Johan had to jump, but he did mention that with FEG, there was some communication about potentially them working with Fairview Empowerment Group, working with the folks that did the Greenburgh Taste Off, the Booster Club and things to that effect. He made the suggestion that perhaps having students be a part of actually, organizing and running, future Taste Off. Maybe that's some type of project that a student or group of students might work together and as a potential project.
It's a great idea.
Mr. Thomas, I have to leave, but I wanted to thank Charlene and Dr. Fritz because I've been talking about the WISE program forever and wondering why it lost its excitement to all the people. In fact, I saw Roz at the memorial they had for Vic at Town Hall, and I said to her, we have to get together and try to get it back. And I'm glad. I want to thank both of you and whoever else is involved to bring it back to it was exciting in those days when my kids were in school, and I wanted to go back to that. Yeah.
And please come visit us anytime.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for joining.
Bye, everybody.
Rosetta, I believe you raised your hand again. Or was that from before? Rosetta? Did you raise your hand again, or was that from before?
I'm good, thank you. I'm fine.
Okay, cool. Okay. All right. I mean, if nobody else has any additional questions, I'd like to definitely thank you both for the presentation. Please, I think that we truly want to help. Like this is what I think community engagement is all about, and I would love to see the various different businesses throughout Greenburgh, students understanding what they do and what their opportunities are, and so let's work together to make that happen.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yes, thank you.
We appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, perfect.
I look forward to the next steps.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that everybody knows, I believe that in our next meeting, it's currently scheduled for December sorry, give me a second. It's currently scheduled for December the 5th. But I'm going to ask and that we change it to December the 8th so that we can get a presentation from Catherine Adore of the IB program. And, we can start to kind of take some of the things that we talked about today, connect them with what's going on with the International Baccalaureate program, and again, provide the most possible opportunities for our students that we can. So is anybody opposed to the Thursday, the 8th, adjusting that date? Okay, so I will confirm that there's nothing else on the calendar that would be that would interfere, and make that adjustment and let everybody know.
Let me ask you, there is something on my old hard copy calendar that says Woodlands Middle High School Introduction to DP for Rising Juniors, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Has that been moved? Because Kathy Adore would know that if that were there.
So she did say that she can do the 8th. So perhaps that was moved. I don't remember.
Okay.
Whatever I saw on the 8th when I looked on the calendar was something where it felt like, both things could happen at the same time. But if that's something that she would need to be at, then chances are it must have been moved. But I'll confirm that and confirm the date change for everyone in the coming days. So
I'm good.
All right, perfect. All right, Dr. Iverson.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Trustee Thomas. I just have a few items just to remind the group. Good evening, everyone. Again, please excuse my tardiness. I had a little difficulty.
I'm sorry, Dr. Iverson. Charlene, can you stop the screen share, please?
Oh, there we go.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. I
Have a
appreciate
nice
your.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Nice to see you again. Thank you. So I again met with my community. I met with my weekly communications team today. We meet every Monday. And our purpose, as I've said many times, and this continues to be, is for us to continue to brainstorm, to think tank, and to identify just better ways that we can just build our strategies around communication to our community and to our public, to our parents, to our students, and just how we can market the district. Our vision is just that, to be able to get the word out, communicate better, and market the district, and that we attract more kids back to our districts, perhaps from our public, private schools, and just new families to Greenburgh, because we know the big piece to do that is how we market our district. So we spent a lot of time on that today, thinking about ideas, and I'll give you a couple of things I've done since our last meeting. We talked about our strategic plan. So we are meeting on the 14th. We are on the last stretch of the plan. We're in phase 4. Phase 4 will consist of a committee, smaller committee, consisting of 3 board members and 3 central office administrators coming together to finalize the metrics and benchmarks that we're going to identify and use as indicators of our progress and success along the 5-year period. Many of the objectives and goals and actions in the strategic plan in our 5 focus areas aren't all going to be accomplished in 1 year. Some are more comprehensive, some are short wins, some are longer. So this piece on the 14th will be the discussion around what we can reasonably accomplish over the 5-year period in what year, what items we can get done in 1 year, 2 years, and what we know will probably be finished into full fruition by the 5th year, because there are a range of activities in all of the areas. So we're going to engage in that. And once that's finished, the board will be presented to the board and to the community, and then we will finalize the appearance of it for our website. I know the consultant is having our president think about a nice kind of summary, or just an opening to explain the process. The paper that will just the introduction of all of what we've gone through since January when this process began. We are right on schedule in terms of where we should be with summer and vacations coming in and a little bit of COVID still last year. I think we sustained a pretty good schedule. So we're excited about the last stretch and looking forward to that. So the strategic plan, we're hoping to, I would love, and we'll see by the December meeting, perhaps, not promising, it may be on the board agenda for the board to approve if everything goes well, but the encouraging piece is that we're moving and we're close to the end. We are still going to be doing newsletters this year. We did 2 or 3 last year. I don't remember. I think 3. We're looking to do a newsletter by this November before the holidays, before the Christmas holidays, not Thanksgiving, but a holiday one around that time. And so we met on that today in terms of what will be into that newsletter. Remember, we get that translated in Spanish, and that newsletter is mailed to every community, every home in Greenburgh. So we went over those logistics. Just at this point, the layout, our president of the board and writes a nice article in front there, and I'll share one as well. And we're going to be, again, trying to share the good news about Greenburgh Central School District and some exciting things happening in there. I think WISE is even an article that's going to be in there right now. We are looking to just get information from our public and our parents around their interest in Greenburgh Central School District, looking into providing before and after school care for our students. We know our parents have schedules and have jobs they need to get to sometimes prior to the opening of our school day, and would need some support with that, with before and after school care. And so we are beginning that conversation. I've met with a couple of vendors where one of them not decided, cost none of the details yet, just beginning those conversations. We will be, so we're beginning to look at that, and if we do this and we get an interest from our parents, all who received a message from me with the link to send me their level of interest. And today I checked the numbers that just went out Friday, the survey and my message. Today we had 77 responses of interest in before and after care being provided at one of our schools in Greenburgh Central School District. It will be at one school only right now. And those students who are enrolled in that school who are part of the program is easy. They will be dropped off by parents in the morning. And when that day starts around 8, when they will go straight to class. Other students in our district who are there, we will pick them up, the bus, and take them to their schools. So parents can rest assured that once they drop them off at 6 or 7, they get breakfast, they're engaged in learning activities, and they are, if they're at their home school, they go straight to class. When that bell sounds, if they're not, we will pick them up, our transportation, and take them and deliver them to their schools. And if they're in the after school program, that same bus will bring them back to the location where parents have up until 6:30 to pick them up. So we'll continue. That survey is out. You have till November 18th to complete it. And then we will continue to plan that. And I will, of course, keep the board abreast of where we are with that. So we're making progress in that area as well. Speaking, just listening to WISE and the suggestion that was made about getting the word out and making sure we, spell things out and sharing. We talked today about trifolds. I think I mentioned this before, developing brochures and trifolds that are these handouts, things that we can leave everywhere we go, that they can go in, or they can go to the associations and Juniper Hill and all the places that are connected, Theodore Young Center, everywhere, all those partnerships where we can leave just great information about the district. So we have a layout for that. Miguel Barrios, who's on my communications team, and he's the one that does all the graphics. I've given him the template, so we'll have one for every every area of our instructional programming, even our after school programming, our athletics, and even WISE, where it would be a trifold that gives information, quick vignette, sort of good details about information that, like you said, Ms. Bullock, that anyone picking it up can know about it in the 9th grade, where they see it, it's getting the word out in the community, in grocery stores, where we can leave, you know how you see them in little pockets. We want to start doing this, marketing programs so that we can just share the good news that's happening in Greenburgh. So we talked about that as well. And my last point, and in full spirit of full transparency, I'm still engaged in conversation with the board around improving our safety and security in our schools. The board and I were engaged in a retreat this weekend, and I'm in meetings every week with the board president and vice president, in addition to board meetings, where we are heavily involved in what we need to do to make our schools even safer. And I will say to the community, stay tuned for more information around that. We are looking to do another level of support and bringing it to our schools around some professional development for our administrators. In fact, tomorrow is our superintendent conference day, it's professional development day. We have no students tomorrow, parents, they are not in school tomorrow. We're all voting tomorrow, but teachers and administrators, after they vote or after school, we will be engaged in a full day of professional development around our district initiatives, as well as while there, we have our non-instructional staff and our administrators who are doing a little both. We're going to be engaged full day in with a consultant around our safety measures and those evacuation procedures. Just so more to come on that. I'm looking to get to the community and have a forum with the community around recent events with more information, more talk. I'll be able to speak more about what we're doing, improvements we're going to be making, and be able to address many of the questions I know that are still lingering out there. We want to be very transparent in that once all our investigations are done around recent events, we're looking forward to meeting with our community to share what we know and give more information around that. So I've tried to be clear in my written messages around that, but I know there's more to come, more detail out there that needs to be said. And I'm letting the community know that stay tuned for that. That will be coming shortly. We are engaged right now in more training around that, even looking at the lessons we've learned and what things that we could do better, other methods and strategies. It will be very comprehensive to include not just administration, but as well as our police force from Greenburgh Police Department, as well as our some of our professional help we're getting from the consultant who's on board tomorrow. So we take this very seriously. We've been engaged in conversations almost every day. Many things have been put in place at the schools to just up and elevate the level of security around doors and entrances already, but please know more to come. And without being very specific, I know I'm not, what I'm telling you is what I can, but know that very shortly, and we hope very soon before the Christmas holidays, to be able to come before you and be able to address all of your questions and provide all the information and details you need to assure you we take your concerns very, very seriously, that we know our responsibility to protect and keep our children, not yours, I will say our kids, safe. And we know you entrust that in us, and we take it seriously and want you to know that. So I wanted to end on that. I will say this, I met with the PTA Council today, and their parents, just like people on this call, we have very honest conversations, and they brought their concerns to me and I listen, and definitely want to address the concerns that were read to me at the board meeting from the combination of parents from the PTAs. All of that, I want you to know, is not falling on deaf ears. And so we addressed some of that as much as I could. I told them pretty much what I'm telling you tonight. But we're looking forward to that forum, and stay tuned. That's all I have, trustee.
Thank you so much, Dr. Iverson. Are there any questions for Dr. Iverson?
Yes, Dr. Iverson, thank you, because it seems like it's very comprehensive. I'm a stickler, and they tell me that's one of my character flaws, but that's okay. Regarding the words, in our calendar, we have all the holidays. Initially, you said you're going to put out Christmas newsletter, but I'm looking at the calendar, and you have Hanukkah, you have Kwanzaa. So perhaps with your communications team, we can get an inclusive term, maybe a holiday newsletter, so it's more inclusive as opposed to a Christmas, because we don't want to exclude anybody. I mean, we have numerous people in our community. I'm just thinking we need to be inclusive. So perhaps a holiday newsletter would be appropriate.
Absolutely.
Just a recommendation.
No, I appreciate hearing that. I will say to you, throughout this year, around some of the traditional things that have happened in the district, I've gotten feedback from a lot of parents pushing for this inclusive language. Some even saying to me, we don't even celebrate some of these things.
Exactly.
And so it has said to me, okay, we need to really take a look at that, rename it. We can be more inclusive and change the terms. Not saying we stop doing it, but do it so everyone feels that they're represented. So we're raising the bar on that as well. I had hoped to have for the keynote speaker tomorrow, someone to come to talk to us about, because we're initiating and rolling out diversity, equity, and inclusivity in everything we do. But that awareness, that level of consciousness, just defining what it is where we are. We have a ways to go. I will tell you, Ms. Bullock, around that. We're just beginning that work. But we've integrated it in our strategic plan at that framework around all the goals there that are coming from a framework of that DEI, where we are becoming more inclusive. So thank you for that point, but we are going to be changing some of those titles next year. Not saying they're going to go away, but we're going to make them holistic.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. I don't know if I couldn't see if someone had their hand raised.
Go ahead, Kelly.
First of all, Dr. Iverson, I want to say thank you for addressing the safety concern, as I was definitely one of those parents that was concerned about everything that happened that day. I just want to say I'm glad that we're going to end up having a meeting or a town meeting of some sort. That was something I was advocating for, so I'm glad to see that's happening. Now, last week we had a PTA meeting for the middle high school. Mr. Smith was there and he addressed it to the people who were present. I will say he was very transparent. I think every parent left there really reassured. You might even want to ask him some of the questions that came up, because what I did find were some of the questions that several parents had was even deeper about just protocols in general. Like I hear Ms. Griffith Bullock talk about how a lot of parents don't know what a lockdown drill is, so when parents, so that was one of the questions he kind of explained to everyone. There was at least 5 parents. They said, I didn't even know that there were all these drills. So to explain it, what the process is, what it means to the children, what is being told to the children, I think that's something that a lot of parents had questions about. Also, just sort of like the basic protocol for parents when your child does tell you something, how they should respond in a way, in better communication, even with the district to the parents, letting them know what's happening instead of us only hearing it from our children, because that was what kind of made the whole situation a lot worse, if you understand. So I'm glad we're going to have that meeting, because a lot of parents did bring that up. They said, this has been, that conversation with Mr. Smith was wonderful. And I think he probably went on for almost 45 minutes. He just took our questions. He spoke to us. He was very transparent. People felt really reassured afterwards. And we said, this is what I think the parents want, is just a conversation where we could kind of ask our questions and we could have a better understanding about the process. So we
Yes.
told him that we wanted that to happen as well. So I'm glad that you're looking into doing something.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson, for that. Yes, this will be even on a larger scale for any parent, even at our lower level schools, that we will be addressing those very specific things with parents. The training that administrators are going to be involved in tomorrow is around those very things he talked about. Because immediately we saw the need that there needed to be some training, some more training. That was immediately, looked into and is planned. And I'm letting my principals, they're going to be in the morning, but they're going to leave and go to that as well, because there have been some lessons we've learned. And that is in the spirit of true transparency, that there were some things that we needed to do better. And so that's what we're working on. And so with the help of some support from outside and all the experts who know this stuff better than we do, they're helping us become better. So we can, when we come before you, they're going to even help with suggesting for the administration and what are the things we need to improve, because they are the experts. So we can better be able to say to our parents, here are some things that we're going to do differently. This is what we've learned. Yes, we do, Ms. Johnson, have every school has an emergency preparedness plan. All of the administrators have been trained in those terms Mr. Smith went over. We've all been trained in those. Every district, every state has that type of training for school administrators. It's just when the time happens, you have to ensure that you do it right. And, there were some steps missed. We had no one get hurt, thank goodness. I thank every night for that we had no child get hurt, but we certainly still don't minimize that plan. So, and as many people are part of it, security, and everyone has roles, and so everyone's got to be on point. So it's a good time to come back and revamp and then tell our parents, this is what happened. This is what we did. This is what we've learned. And more importantly, this is what we're going to be doing differently. Now, Mrs. Smith and I have talked almost every day. I know some things he probably shared that he's put in place around some of the postings and signs. He probably mentioned that they put around with those terms on it because they're all over the building. I know he and I talked about some movement he's doing with the flow of traffic, especially around the lunch times where they're unstructured, in terms of making sure students know if there was an emergency during those unstructured times, what they do. And I did attend some of the assemblies he held with the students where those were very good questions they had. So it said to us, yeah, when we practice these lockdown drills normally, when they're doing drills, they're during the day when the kids are in classes. But we learned we need to practice when kids are changing classes, when kids are in the cafeteria. What do kids do? So those are things we've started to work on already, and securing the doors better. But the support we hope to get around this training, we'll look at our cameras, make sure, just give us information around what they saw, what could have been better. And so, because they're the experts with that eye. So it'll be so comprehensive. I think the parents are going to love it. Not love it. I don't mean to love it in a light way. This is nothing to love about this. I don't mean it like that, please. I just mean they will walk away like you felt, at least with more information. We're rushing it. We're hoping to have it as soon as things are approved and we are okay to go ahead with it. We have a full schedule of things that I've shared with the board that we'll look there, that we're collectively talking about. And I think we're both on board for that. So yes, I'm hoping that that yes, we will be planning this town hall. Mrs. Smith will be there again, and I will be there, and we'll be more comprehensive.
Thank you so much, Dr. Iverson. So if no one else has any additional questions, the last portion of our meeting is just if there are any new events, new business that anybody wants to discuss. David?
Sure. The Finance and Facilities Committee met on October 20th and heard a presentation for an energy performance contract. An energy performance contract allows the school district to implement an energy conservation and capital improvement measure that would otherwise require a capital project and cost the taxpayers money, right? The way that we've got things set up, we went through an RFP process. Con Ed Solutions was the winner, and they're going to implement a number of energy improvement and efficiency initiatives, and then that will lower our utility bills, and we'll use that money to pay back a loan for making all the necessary capital improvements. So then there's no net increase to the taxpayers, but we get about $20 million worth of work done. Okay? So they made this grand proposal. The project includes LED lighting, rooftop solar panels at Highview, direct digital controls for all HVAC systems, natural gas for several schools, replacement of outside air intakes for all 4 rooftop units at Woodlands, a rebuild of air handling units at Highview and Bailey, new boilers at Highview, new condensing water heaters for all schools, software controls for district computers, timer controls for window ACs, installation of bare piping, replacement of steam traps at Bailey, installation of solar PV carport, and a battery energy storage system over by the football field at Woodlands. Improved building envelope and weatherization and refrigeration compressors for Highview freezers. All that totals up to $20,391,117. NYSERDA will give us a rebate that'll cut that down. You'll have to finance it at the front end. 6 months later, NYSERDA comes back and cuts it back to where you're only ending up with a loan for $16 million because their rebates count off on it. And then you pay that off over 18 years, and there's no additional cost to taxpayers. If you don't realize the energy savings, Con Edison Solutions is on the hook. You figure out how much short you are, and they have to give you money for it. So New York State Education Department has to approve the contract. So I think that there are guarantees in place. It looks like a pretty safe bet. The project scope does require to get that, all of that stuff in there, 10% additional aid from New York State. And New York State then requires voter approval for that. If voters don't approve the project, we'll reduce the scope of the project, affecting the replacement and reconditioning of the air handling units, the rooftop units, and the condensing hot water boiler. If the cost of financing the project is greater than projected, so you're watching the prime rate slowly climb up over time, and if by the time we get to the point at which we're financing this thing, it's more expensive, again, we scale the project back a little bit. So in either case, there's no additional cost to district taxpayers. On November 1st, the Board of Education approved the Finance and Facilities Committee recommendation to move forward with the Con Edison Solutions Energy Performance Contract proposal with a public vote slated for January of 2023. More details, further information on the project will be posted on the district website. We're getting the language down for the proposition. We're figuring out exactly the financing, and we're going to put it out there. The next meeting of the Finance and Facilities Committee is 11/17/22 at 6:30 p.m. at the Woodlands Innovation Lab. A Zoom link will be added for the online district calendar if you're interested in attending remotely. That's it.
Thank you so much, David. Does anybody else have anything else? Comments, questions? Hearing none, I move that we close this evening's meeting at 8. I have a second. All in agreement?
Aye.
Aye.
Hearing no opposition, I look forward to seeing you guys in December. Well, some of you before then, but everybody else in December. Thank you, everybody, for a wonderful meeting. And if anybody has anything they'd like to comment, I'm always an email away. Thank you guys so much.
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
Thanks.
Aye.
Good evening.